What's up? I think I am live now. We are going to be talking crypto this morning. We're going to be talking some fitness related stuff. There's already 28 people here. What's good, everybody? Let me pause these. Hope everybody is doing well in the comments and is enjoying their Sunday morning. Today has been awesome. We have somebody. We have the Hexiest man in crypto, Don, who's going to be coming on with us as a special guest, talk about what he's doing, what his experience is like in just a moment. But first,
Young folks, you tripping on them motherfucker.
Richard Heart. Richard Heart.
Bought my hex from the fucking start. Point one every day we mark. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Checking my MetaMask moving. Look at the Hexiest mooning. Looking at wives they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing. Pull chains out and they'll get me a check. He's gas up and it got me a mess. Remember the times he died collect. Hex I been eating, I'm dying in the best. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart. Richard Hart. Getting this back like a year ago.
what's up, brother? How you doing? Good morning.
Yeah.
Well,
What's happening, man? I love that intro, dude. That intro's fire.
did you see DeFi Proof on the other day, who is actually behind that song? He came on and he's got his whole focus is on the crypto space.
Yeah.
When you think about, like, I'm not super into music, and when you think about rap, at least me, we're not paying attention to it. It's about like bitches, and it's about guns, and it's about drugs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of it, yeah.
And then to take that and be like, okay, around stuff related to crypto, DeFi Proof, I think he's going to blow up over the next couple of months.
Dude. Yeah, that song's fire too, just in general. You know, that song's excellent.
And look who decided to show up
with the intro. Yeah. He's in.
How do I get one of those? That's the real question here.
What's that?
I get one of those boards. Night here.
Oh, dude, Roadcaster Pro, man, like $500 on Amazon. You get it tomorrow or the next.
You hear that, sponsors? Put it right on the shopping list. They'll get it to me tomorrow. Don't worry about them.
Hell yeah.
Just joking. But dude, I'm so sorry. I woke up at 4. I had a meeting at 6 a.m. with some crazy bodybuilders. Then I worked a little more. Then I fell asleep for 2 hours. Now I'm sitting here.
Bro.
We had a call this morning. What was that, like
6 a.m.? I got on the call at 6 a.m. Let me tell you a little bit about Gym Rat. Everyone said 6 a.m. call. I was on the call till 7:15 with nobody else but myself.
Damn.
Well, I didn't see your message till this morning.
No, but those guys were awesome, and everyone's busy. Everyone's got jobs, kids flying all over the place. You know, so the bodybuilders like to meet quiet in the morning.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's what we like it.
Not everybody's as open and wants to talk about all the different shit that they do in the public. I'm fine with talking about it, but not everybody wants to be out in the public.
Sam's like, come on the show. They're like, dude, chill. I think it's like,
okay. Yes.
All right. So wait, I want to talk about a couple of things. I want to talk about your relationship with Hex,
Yeah.
Your relationship with your neighbor.
Yeah.
I want to hear that whole little story from the top a little bit with Hex, with crypto, just you in
Okay.
general.
Yeah.
And let's just talk
Absolutely.
about it. Your setup absolutely crispier than
Thank
a
you, bro.
spider on a summer day.
Much appreciate. I got like where the Hexiest neighbor and I did our little interview was right back there with the camera turned. You can see there's 2 chairs, but you know what I mean? We had a nice little kickback set up right there. So that's an interview to check out as I talk more about Hexiest neighbor here in a minute.
And then after you get into that, we're going to talk a little bit about your kind of ethos, because you mentioned it to me really quick, or I heard you say a couple things about sobriety, about
Yeah.
making it part of your life. So
Absolutely,
let's talk
bro.
about that too.
And it relates to crypto.
Absolutely. Hey,
He was telling me a little bit about some of the stuff around Mount Cox and what's going on in that.
I want to know that too.
That's
I want to know
fascinating.
more about that.
Yeah. Cool.
So go ahead first, because I want to know you more.
Yeah. All right. So my name is Don, or Hexiest, right? And so my relationship with Hex came. I mean, I guess it was a little less than a year ago. I thought it was last May, but it was definitely before the pulse sacrifice. But I got into crypto back in 2013. Bought my first Bitcoins at $95 a pop. Still got my Coinbase transactions to show all the Bitcoin I kept buying, all the way up to 300 something bucks. Thought I was a genius when I sold a bunch of them at 1,500. Man, I just made a 5x. And anyway, so got into Bitcoin back then. Bought it to transact with, actually, originally. And at the time I was in private equity for about 7 years. I was living in the Bay Area, was running one of our portfolio companies in the analytical chemistry and water microbiology space. And so we had an office in Amsterdam, building one in Dubai. Like we had a lot of cool things going on. However, at the same time, I'd like to dabble with a few things that you needed Bitcoin with. And so I'll jump back into that one, but jumping back to Hex. So I'd had crypto exposure for years. And then the Mount Gox happened in, what was it, late 2014, 2015? I want to say it was late 2014. But basically, Mount Gox was ran by a gentleman named Mark Karpelis, and it used to be the DeFi exchange that you went to if you had Bitcoin. Like it was like you buy your Bitcoin on Coinbase. If you wanted to transact with it at all, you wanted an anonymous wallet, you'd go to Mount Gox and you'd put your Bitcoin in there. And it was a pretty simple function. Mount Gox stood for MTGOX, Magic the Gathering Online Exchange, is what it stood for.
So Mount Cox, was that like an online wallet, so to speak, at the time?
Yeah, exactly. It was another wallet. So you'd send your Bitcoin to it, and then you could basically transact from there anonymously, right? You'd send your Bitcoin.
This is a very big concept, Sam, within the community, but within the Bitcoiners. So just know, like, this is a very
Mount Gox was a big deal.
That was a huge thing at the time. I didn't know much about it, so I just know it's big.
I remember hearing the name back in the day, but I thought it was an exchange.
I thought it was like some operation or something. Like I was like, what is Mount? Like, is it a military base or,
Yeah.
But right. So basically what you're saying for everyone that's in here, back in the day, skis, when all the people were playing around on the computer, messing with their crypto like we do now, there was a exchange, basically a centralized exchange that had some issues and ran off with a bunch of money, probably.
Yep, the CEO did. So he's in jail. So it became pretty public how it happened. Wow. It wasn't like it was just some random hack. He shut down shop, wiped the systems, ran off with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Bitcoins. I forget the exact number, like close to 600 to 700,000 or something like that. So a large amount, given there's 21 million Bitcoin total in existence once they're all mined. And so it was a big chunk. And so now they're held by essentially they're held by a trust. And I keep getting these Japanese court letters in the mail saying, giving us, at first it was that we needed to verify that we were part of the trust. We had to file saying that we were a victim, of this, hate to use that word, but that we were a party to this fraud, that we were the losing party, and that we want our Bitcoin back. So we had to make a claim. And then since then we've been getting these notifications for years. Like I'm talking, I have these things dated back years, 5 years, plus, basically saying, hey, the Bitcoin will be coming out soon, just a little bit longer. I asked Richard on stream when we were at the Hexpo in Vegas, and I asked him, I said, do you think we're ever going to get these coins back? And Richard said, yeah, I think you will. I think you will. It's just a matter of time. Shortly after that, I heard him say on the stream that he thinks that Mark might end up with all of them, the guy that actually robbed us, right? And so I'm like, man, what to believe? And then the stream I was on last week with Gen Hex, they'd heard that we were going to get him in the next few months. And so I've just kind of tuned out. I get a letter, I kind of set it on the side, I check the news, and so we'll see if we ever get those back. But anyway, so my early experience of crypto was, okay, wow, I trusted somebody, I trusted a centralized party, I got burned. This sucks. I'm not paying too much attention to crypto. Maybe back in 2018 started buying a little bit of Bitcoin again.
So wait, before you get into the 2018,
yeah.
Just for my context,
yeah,
were wallets like not a thing like they are today, or the only type of wallet was a wallet like Mt. Gox? Because I actually got my first one at $100 a pop, BTC, and the exchange also stole my money. But I don't even remember. Really? I have to look up all that shit too back in the day.
Yeah,
so I don't. But I knew nothing. I literally knew nothing about crypto. Somebody was like, "Hey, I'll pay you that for helping me out." And I was like, "Okay, sure." He's like, "Get this thing, do this thing." And I did what he said, and then I went in to check it a couple years later, and they had stole the money or whatever. But so what was it like back then?
Yeah, so I mean, I was definitely by no means a Bitcoin expert back then. I was in private equity, right? Like we were buying, growing, and selling businesses, and so I knew how to analyze investments, and excuse me again, like I said, the reason I needed Bitcoin back then was not for the most healthy activity, right? What were the things you could buy for Bitcoin back then? And so honestly, my thing was, how can I get this Bitcoin someplace to where it's not going to leave my name on a transaction, right? And so Mt. Gox was one of the things I found. I remember Googling it. There were at least another wallet or two. I'm sure there were plenty more, but by no means did I know what I know now in crypto then. I mean, obviously, had I would have held my Bitcoin for a lot longer. And what's interesting is Mt. Gox, should I get these Bitcoins, they may have saved me in the same way that staking Hex can save you. You know what I mean? Like it saved me from myself if I'll end up getting these Bitcoin. But so that was my early intro into crypto. And then last year, I was watching a stream on Around the Blockchain, BitBoy Crypto's channel, and Richard was a guest on there, right? And Richard was just slaying people on there. I mean, just destroying these guys in debates. This is when he was still cussing, right? And but one of the things he brought up was the Mt. Gox hack or the Mt. Gox theft. And so he spoke directly to my pain. Like,
so this is the first exposure to
Richard,
and this is on the stream. This guy's talking about Bitcoin, and that's what his channel talks about. And then this guy comes on, and you're like, this guy's kind of making this other dude look like a little bit of like foolish in certain ways.
Yeah, well, so Around the Blockchain, if you're not that familiar with the show, Around the Blockchain is what they do is every day around like, I guess it depends on where you are in the country, right? But every day around like 1 to 2 p.m., I'm in the mountain time zone. They get usually a panel of guests, like Crypto Wendy O's on there a lot. The lady that the lady that just recently interviewed Richard. I mean, they got a lot of Bitcoin maxes, but a lot of people in the space that they get aside from the Hex community. You know, Richard's basically the only one that they get from Hex community, and he was just destroying them as far as all these DeFi products. And talking about Bitcoin and talking about calling the top, but he brought up the Mt. Gox thing, and I'm like, man, this guy just knows what the.
You just knew he knew what he was talking about.
I knew he knew what he was talking about, and I was already back into crypto at that point. You know what I mean? And he brought up that he had a product, and I don't even think he mentioned much about the sacrifice phase at that point, but he mentioned that he had a coin called Hex. And so at that point, I'm like, man, he's speaking directly to my pain with this Mt. Gox stuff. He knows what he's talking about. Why am I going to look at anything other than what he's talking about? Like, why don't I look at the coin that he's talking about? Because I'd already gotten back into Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of the basics back then, and was buying some other tokens. Was also getting into NFTs as well, and anyway, so paid attention to Richard. Analyzed his whole project in the sense of this yield. I saw this fact that it was a 38+% yield, and I'm like, No, that's not sustainable.
Especially coming from PE. Give that context, because if I
Exactly.
told anybody that I used to work in banking and accounting and stuff, if I told anybody 38%, they would be like, it's a scam, bro. Like, that's not fucking true. You have no idea what you're
Right.
talking about.
Well, especially off the rip, like to say that, oh, you're just going to get this off the rip. Like you put this money in and we're guaranteeing this. It's like, well, no, where's your business plan? Let's see the balance sheet. First of all, let's evaluate the health of this business. Well, I guess you can see a balance sheet on Etherscan. You can essentially see everything. But when I started learning some of the tokenomics, and I started learning that, okay, where this comes from is it comes from a healthy 3.69% yield, which is 3.69% inflation, right? Like that's a healthy inflation, especially if you compare it to what we're at now. Bitcoin inflates, right? He described how he matched it to kind of where Bitcoin was inflating at the time. He kind of came up with that number randomly, but related it to that. And we all know that's around a healthy inflation, right? 2 to 3.69% is something that I think is healthy and sustainable. And anyway, and I'm not a macroeconomic analyst by any means, but I'm just saying that made sense. And then the fact that along with early end stake penalties went to the staking class only, and that's where it came from. It made all the sense in the world to me. So, bought my first Hex and didn't stake it initially, like checked it out a little more before staking it. Then my first stake was like 60 days. And it was something like, I think I put like 500 or 1,000 Hex on the line. It did something small, and my gas fees ended up eating up all my yield after those first 60 days. You know what I mean? So didn't benefit much from that. However, did learn about Pulse Chain, and so was able to get in on the Pulse sacrifice. But anyway, that's sort of how I got into crypto and how I got into Hex. Was Richard knew what he was talking about. He spoke to my pain. I don't mind his personality. I enjoy his personality. He calls it how it is. I like people like that. And so, yeah, that's kind of what got me there. And then you asked some other questions, Jim Rat.
Yeah, so I wanted to know more about you mentioned addiction. We talk about drugs and all sorts of stuff on this show very often. And I have a very intimate relationship with all of those concepts, So I've been through all of I did AA in my youth for years. I was sober from 19 to 26. Now I'm 28. I haven't been sober for 2 years, but I still preach similar things. It just changed over time for me.
Preach health.
Yeah, but everyone told me too, like you're going to die if you do things your way, and I was like,
that is a fact, man. Yeah,
self-will. I'm gonna die then, motherfuckers, because I ain't doing it your way.
Self-will run rampant, man. That's my experience. And one of the things,
100%. I'm 28 years old, dude. I got lots of time to die.
Yeah, and at the same time, man, I got so many dead friends that, I got over 100 dead friends, you know what I mean? And like people that were close, not just acquaintances, you know what I mean, but people I knew. And so back in the day, right, when I was young, I got addicted to Oxy, and I'm older than you, right? Like I got 12 years on you. And so got into, just of course drinking, all that stuff. I was able to manage that responsibly, right? Eventually got into, when I was in undergrad. So I have my master's in business, right? But in between college and grad school is when I started dabbling with OxyContin, and that stuff took my life over, man. You know what I mean? It completely took it over to the point where I ended up basically going to a 2-year residential program. Like I lived there for 2 years, right? Like, you know what I mean? And
I did similar.
18
months.
Yeah. So, you know what it's like. And so anyway, I got sober for, 7 years. And then this takes me back to when I'm living in the Bay Area and I'm running this portfolio company out, from our portfolio. And basically I decided to get back into drugs. However, I'm not going to go with the illegal drugs. So I decided to get back into, although the illegal drugs played a big role in that. I mean, you name it, cocaine, OxyContin again. I mean, if there was heroin, I'd smoke it, right? Go right down to San Francisco to the Tenderloin district. You can buy whatever you need, open air drug market. And so, but what I found out is I'm like, look, I was able to live that dual life well, like when I was in my addiction, right? Like I'm able to perform.
How much money were you spending per week in your worst?
So, all right. So in US dollars,
another spreadsheet.
So all right. So I was spending. So I'll tell you what the substance was, because there is a lot of it out there and it's legal and a lot of people still like it. It's just for me, it wasn't good. Kratom. So you probably heard of Kratom, but listen, the Kratom that I was getting, man, it was not the stuff you get at the store or anything like that. Or it wasn't stuff you can.
Wow, this is about to be an interesting.
This was a laboratory in Chicago. This was a laboratory in Chicago that you could that would actually extract the mitragynine and the 7-hydroxymitragynine at 200 times the strength and put it back into like the plain leaf kratom essentially, and then package it back up. So it got so it was so strong that a couple capsules would literally remind me of an 80 in each nostril, like an OxyContin 80 up each nostril.
Okay, hold on one second. I'm going to stop this conversation. I'm going to defer to Sam for 1 second. I'm going to ask you a question in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Just so we all have more perspective about each other.
Yeah.
Sam basically studies substances for a living until crypto, and well, like Tesla, substances, and now crypto too.
Yeah.
So we are very familiar with pretty much every drug. Like when you said kratom to us, we're like, we've done hours and hours and hours of research on kratom.
I've got kratom right here.
Yeah, but dude, this stuff isn't something to find.
No, but
correct. But they sell the concentration now.
No,
yeah, they do.
That's why we're gonna dive in a little bit, because I want to know, because I believe you. Trust me, if you've done drugs before, and you would know. You're like, this dude made.
Hold on, I'll just drop in real quick. 10 Bitcoin a week, just real quick. I'll throw that in there. 10 Bitcoin a week, around like 2K was what I was spending on that stuff.
That's 300. That's 300 grand today in today's dollars. Right?
Those are some expensive kratom capsules
per week. Yeah.
Tell me about these kratom. I want guys, if you think this is taboo, you're in the right place. If you think I'm being odd and that I've done a lot of weird things, you are correct. And if you don't want to learn about stuff like this in general, then just turn it off.
Coming back tomorrow.
Yeah, come back tomorrow. Hey, we're going to be talking crypto too. Hey guys, this is going to be a full-fledged conversation. So we're going here real quick for another 20-30. And then we're going crypto, baby. So don't worry about that for 1 second.
Yeah.
I've never had that point of view where addiction was in the hands of, and you guys have both had different experiences than me. So I'm curious to hear your experience, because I've always thought of addiction as just 100% in my control of the substance. And
so I always told Sam, because Sam was my mentor, but Sam didn't understand the addiction that I had. But I did, I wanted him for other reasons. I didn't care that but I was telling him, just perspective wise, he was telling me some of it is in your head, and he was right about some certain concepts. And then there's other concepts that it's like some of this was wired into me from the day that I was born onto this earth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like I am jacked up for doing drugs, bro. Like the first time I smoked a cigarette when I was 9, I wanted to do it every single day.
Yeah, you were home, right? Like you found
I was like, this is it. Like I remember smoking a cigarette. Like there's nothing happens when you smoke a cigarette. You just get lightheaded. But I was a kid. I just wanted something because I was so on edge. I was so out of control mentally that anything that was put into my body would like do something, and it would change the relationship that I was having with the present moment enough where it felt better.
Yeah, you found what you needed, right? Like you found the solution to all problems.
It's I don't know. It's
weird, Sam. It's very odd because
I've done a lot of drugs, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and tomorrow is a new day, and I'm not doing this.
But it's a spectrum. It's just like everything. It's a spectrum. There's some people that are way worse off. There's some people that have been brutally raped for years on end.
Yes.
Brutally beaten for years on end. And then there's people that have a little wiring that keeps them jacked up 24/7, like me. Like, I didn't have the necessarily horrible things happen to me when I was young, but like I was just waiting for the public school experience for someone to give me drugs, and I did immediately. Like I found it right when I got into 9th grade, and there was enough people where I could stretch my wings and find other resources. I was like gone. I was done. Like people don't even know what I was doing behind the scenes. I never admitted it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, agreed. I understand that point. Yeah, like I said, that duality, right? Like that dual life, and which only makes it grow. So like so that we kind of look at. I know it's maybe makes that spectrum too binary, but we kind of look at like there's normies and then there's addicts and alcoholics, right? And I I used to never believe in the disease model, because the way I was able to get sober the first time for 7 years was I was able to, I'm going on 6 years this time, almost at 6 years in November. And anyway, it was the way I got was just focusing on decisions, was focusing on making the most positive decisions in a row and minimizing negative decisions. And the more I did that, the more I was reflective on my life, the more I was able to, the more it lost the power. And then but
isn't that because that's how I view it as in general? Like same thing with depression and anxiety and addiction. It's 100% about the decisions that I make in the moment, because I'm choosing to do something, and I always like put that into my mind that it's always about the decisions. Whether it's like, okay, I'm feeling like I was depressed, right? Okay, well,
right.
then start making fucking different decisions, Sam. Or feeling anxious or anxiety or feeling like I wanted to take more kratom. It's like, okay, cool. Well, that's a decision you're going to make. We already understand where the path goes, right? From learning from people like you, GRC, and I'm like, but this is like over 20 decades. I'm sorry, 20 years. 20 years.
Hey, you're an old man. No, 200 years, bro. No, so agreed. So here's the thing. So like there's kind of that separation. There's normies, right? People that can basically take a substance and just decide to turn it off, right? And then there's those of us that are either predisposed to addiction, and all the studies show that all you need for addiction to happen is exposure, like that, for that physical dependence to kick in, which is the initial thing, and then addiction comes after that. And the definition of addiction is essentially continuing to do something despite negative results. So as far as the decision-making process, it completely gets hijacked. So it's like, in the rooms of recovery, one of the things we say is, we're the type that that think that if we have a headache, we're going to hit ourselves on the head with the pan to get rid of it. You know what I mean? Like, and then that seems logical, right? Like that seems like a logical thing when you're in the process of addiction. It's like, oh, I'm just going to continue running my life down this terrible track. It's not as easy for many people. Like Jim Rat said, I mean, I met one lady in a center that she had 3 children. She was a 3rd generation gang member. She had 3 children by her father. You know what I mean? And you're going to tell me someone like that is capable of making, that story gets even darker, but basically
most people on Skid Row's parents were just really born around the corner, or they were just trying to find drugs at the time. So
but it touches all aspects of the economic scale. You know what I mean? Like I'm in rooms with judges, with attorneys sometimes, especially when I go to the professional meetings, like, doctors.
If someone smokes crack and comes back to me and tells me that is not an issue for them,
right?
Then good luck.
Well, hey, it might not be yet, right? But once they start putting like in recovery, one of the things we say is whatever you put before your recovery is what you're going to lose. So that's one of the things I realized. Like if I put money before my recovery, I'm going to end up losing that money. If I put a relationship before my recovery, I'm going to end up losing that relationship. Like I got to keep recovery at the forefront of my mind at all times. You know what I mean? And that's just one of the things that I've learned. And so just outside, one of the things I do is I'm an interventionist. Plus I have a business that does extreme interventions and extreme sober companioning. So, I mean, you might have a situation where, I mean, it can run anything anywhere from, unfortunately it's not cheap, right? Because you're retaining someone's time for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, sometimes for a year plus. And, but they've tried 20 different programs. They've tried everything. They spent $1 million plus on their recovery. Nothing's working. And so that's where my guys will come in and actually make a difference by literally almost babysitting them the whole way. And I mean, sometimes it'll be managers from actors in Hollywood that'll call and, hey, my person's having a difficult time making a movie set, need to basically have somebody to help them out, toward to someone that's just run on hard times. They've tried everything else and they just don't know what else to do. They've given up. And so that's where we say, hey, why don't we try a different approach? And we still get them involved in programs and recovery and things like that. And what's up, Hexy Quinn?
Yeah,
that's what's up, Jen Hex? What's up, Craig? Great stream last night.
There's way more practical ways to do it if you're actually paying attention. But like generally in recovery, they have to talk to like a broad spectrum of people. So it's like they have to give a message, right? It's not so much like, hey, Scott, you have this going on and you must kind of act different in this way, that way, and this way. It's more so like you should do all these things and then join here. And it's like a process, right? But if you don't really catch into that process, and some people just don't, period. It's just some people. I did immediately. I thought it was lit.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we try to do is basically like our one of our central focuses are things we try to teach people how to have fun sober, because that's where all addicts are like, dude, if I can't have fun in recovery, then I'm just gonna use.
But they don't understand. They don't even understand anything. I mean, I'm not saying that to them. I'm talking in general. I was like, if you don't know that you can have fun sober, then you don't really understand anything about life, because I don't really have fun. I don't really know what fun is to me. I could be a little broken inside as well. So this could be interesting, but like all I want to do is be productive, or else I feel anxious.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people are like, oh, Scott, Gym Rat, dude, you're like, it's so awesome that you're jacked up when you wake up at 4 a.m. like a freaking loaded pistol. I'm like, yeah, it is every once in a while. It's nice. But like every day it's it's a lot.
Don't you enjoy being productive and accomplishing
yes,
stuff?
It's way better.
So don't you think that is the fun? Like fun for other people might be going to the beach or doing like drugs or whatever the case is.
What's fun to you, Sam?
Or streaming?
I'm similar to you in the sense that like I love being productive.
Yeah, I just think everything I do is fun because it's all productive.
Exactly. And if it's not, and if I find that I sit around for an hour and I'm not doing something that's moving me forwards, like that gives me anxiety.
Yes.
Yeah, agreed. But it's how do you unwind? Like that, I guess that's the question, because one of the things I'll tell you, Jim Rat, like at your age, I was CEO of an international company, right?
What?
And it was good. And
yeah. How did you get there's a lot going on in your life.
Well, so I mean, I was teaching grad school at 26, right? You said you're 28, and so
you were in grad school at 26. And
I was teaching grad school at 26.
Huh?
A processes class, yeah.
Are you just like were you a very gifted youngster? Like,
I mean, my grades weren't the best.
Like as someone who has any addictive background like myself, I personally did not have a clue what was going on until I was about 24. I didn't even know what planet I was on until about 24.
Yeah.
Like, did you kind of catch on to some concepts early where you were a little bit more successful in your life?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was raised, I mean, family, I come from a family that does well, right? Like good influence. I'm the oldest of 4 boys. And there was always that pressure to succeed. Right. So, I mean, like my first job, I was working in a baseball dugout when I was 13, you know what I mean? Then I was I was washing dishes, but I went to private schools. You know what I mean? I got good education, and then I did my undergrad right after grad school. You know what I mean? Or right after high school, and then jumped into my graduate degree right after that. Then had a brief, it was 2-year program, but for the first year and a half, I wasn't able to do anything, so I wasn't able to go back to school. But essentially, right after I finished my MBA, they didn't let you go back to school. When I was 25, I was able to go back and instruct a managing business processes program there that has to do with throughput, essentially analyzing any process, whether it be, the check-in process at an airline, right? How do you maximize the throughput, minimize, how do you get the right, inventory equals throughput times time, Little's law. And, you want to basically make sure that your process is maximum efficient. And so anyway, did that, then got exposure to an equity group that law school was my plan after that. Right. And so got accepted into law school in Chicago, was going to go there. And then that's when one of my partners from the equity firm reached out to me and was like, no, listen, dude, we hired the attorneys. Like we when you're putting deals together, because my whole goal was to go back into business after getting my law degree. I'm like, but I was just going to be a perpetual student, right? Like undergrad, graduate, law. And anyway, so, and there's more nuance to all that, like as far as why I, the order in which it went, as opposed to just doing like a joint JD MBA degree. But anyway, like, so, I mean, I was blessed with opportunities, man, and people that believed in me. And so I was given, cool opportunities early on. And so was I, I can't take credit for everything, man. I mean, it's a lot of it's, networking and relationships are so important in this world, right? Like the type of people you have around you. They always say you're the average of, like, take your 5 friends and, look, you're probably about the average of them in so many different categories. But I'm trying to think of the point of where I was going with that. So it had to do with 28. I was saying that at that age, that's what I was doing, but you'd brought up something about, understanding
the world and where he
the
was.
world.
And where
Yeah.
he was. Your stories, at least from the education standpoint, sounds similar because I was going to finish up my MBA and then either go get a PhD or a law degree.
Yes, yeah.
Afterwards.
Well, it's so easy to be a student, right? Like you can just continue, and I was working while I was a student, right? But still, it's like it's so easy to just continue down that path. And so,
I'm
oh,
so
no, my
glad I
point
did
was,
not do that. Like,
What?
there's nothing. Everyone in my life looked me in the face, and this is the truth. They said, "This will be the single biggest regret you have in your life." And I told everyone, "I'm not doing fucking school, stupid." And that's what I thought. That's how I felt. I still feel that way, and doesn't mean that other people don't thrive in that environment.
right?
I just don't. I'm a social guy. But anyway, so I was like, they told me this will be the biggest mistake you had. This is the only thing that can concrete your skills into the earth. Like I remember people in my life, my secretary, my family telling me like education, and my family didn't, not so much, but like other people, education is what locks those skills into your life so you can earn a living. Newsflash, that's over.
Oh, that type of education is over.
Broken.
It is education, but it's
gone.
not that.
It's
it's
everything is up to date now, live.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you can get so much out of. I mean, I would always tell people who would ask me, hey, should I go get my MBA right after grad school, right after undergrad? And I'm like, no, if you want to do that, go get some real world experience first, so you can actually apply all the different case studies you're going to do in your MBA to real life situations.
You'll make $1 billion and then catch it on the flip side, bro. Like, that's what I always tell everyone. I'm like, why don't I just make $1 billion real quick? Make businesses all over the place. And then if I want to get educated on whatever shit, but it's not going to make me money.
Yeah, it's a different age, man. Like I can't tell you how many people are
silly to think that this is the reason they will be making funds.
Yeah, and I guess there are caveats to that. Like, I mean, let's say you're going to go into law school and you're going to go to Harvard Law, right? Like, or Yale Law. You're going to get opportunities, right, at good law firms or something like that. But when it comes to the business world, if you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to do your own thing, you do not need the education. It's optional if something you want to do it, but online everything's up to date. YouTube, you can get. You can actually see actual MBA courses. You can find out what their whole curriculum is, and you can set your own program up to where you get to watch every single lecture. Of course, there's power in doing the work and the assignments, but yeah, it's a different day and age these days.
And I'm not talking. I don't hate school as a concept at all.
Right.
I am against the time to money ratio. I would think of it as a spreadsheet. I would like to put all the money you spent and all the time you spent on a spreadsheet and then throw it in your face and say you fucked up.
Yeah.
Because that's all I'm saying. It's just time. It's just, I'm not talking about what you actually did. Like, I'm not talking about the physical application of it. I'm talking about you spent 8 years doing this. I spent 8 years talking to people.
Yeah.
Every day.
That's
without a computer.
Valuable part. That's the valuable part of school, which John kind of mentioned about like your relationships, your network, and that kind of thing.
The networking part.
And I didn't do any of that shit in school.
Yeah.
Any of that stuff.
Didn't
do a fraternity or anything.
Razor sharp abs. You can network.
I was like, I'm doing my own thing in grad school, undergrad. I was like, I'm doing my own thing. Like, you guys want to do your own thing? It was girls, and I'm gonna get this shit done. That was it.
Yeah.
If you were like, let's go play video games, I'd be like, cool, have fun video games. Is there gonna be girls there? No, okay, cool. Can we invite?
Oh
girls over?
yeah, same, dude, same boat, bro.
You guys know what Gym Rat's doing after the stream? I'll go sit by the pool for 3 hours.
Hey, now will that be fun? That's the question. Will that be fun?
Yeah, if no one talks to me.
There you go.
Unless a pretty girl is there and I talk to her, I would like no one to speak to me.
Throw on some headphones, bro, and some shades.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna listen to. I have a playlist that is just disgustingly awesome, dude, and I'm just so excited to sit there and just freaking get tan. I love getting tan. That's productive to me because I think of it as a social calibrating thing.
Dude, listen, you're talking to somebody that literally, and my girl tells me that she used to work at a tanning salon back in the day, that she can get me tan. Impossible. Dude.
Yeah, I could
I could do that.
I'm the whitest guy you can possibly get.
Like, no, yeah, you're definitely
Milano tan too.
You're from a different neck of the woods than
exactly, bro. I get purple or white, dude. That's it. Red times.
There's a peptide called Milano Tan 2. It was developed in the University of Arizona.
One of my doctor buddies is telling me about that.
It's awesome.
he looks orange, dude. Like the thing is, I think he's done too much of it, but I can tell it works because I first saw him and I'm like, dang, man.
Hey, dude,
tan,
yeah,
bro.
if you have the spray tans, for all those guys that think this is stupid, but spray tans are
those do the
absolutely money in the bank, and they take about 10 minutes, and nowadays you don't even matter. And if you have a bunch of money, it's very relaxing too.
Hey, do they still smell though? That's my question. I haven't spray tan.
No, they don't. They don't smell like nothing.
5 years?
I haven't done it since last year. I only do it. A girl that I hang out with on occasion has a salon. And so I just like jump in the shit.
Oh, hell
you know
yeah.
what I mean? I don't
Absolutely.
pay for it, of course. I wouldn't pay for it personally, but if I had money, I might.
Yeah.
So real quick, I want to switch this up, Sam. I want to switch it up to crypto. I want to go like into
what are your thoughts coming from the PE background into crypto?
The what?
Because they're private equity, right? So if you're running private equity, you might buy companies, and then you for people who are not like you maybe purchase a company and you structurally change it or sell stuff off, or you just try to improve it or add marketing or put better incentives in place and add debt or whatever to grow faster. Like there's many different ways to go about it. So what is your perspective having that background and getting into crypto? Because I've been in crypto for 75 days and I'm like, this is fucking amazing. Holy
so I mean, I love crypto. I mean, the thing about PE is, you're literally taking, by definition, I mean, your own money, but other people's money, and you're taking other wealthy individuals' money, and you are being the steward of that capital. So you were basically saying, hey, you have to vet investments. I mean, deal flow is important. You have to have deals coming across your desk all the time of companies to evaluate, to look to put the money into. But due diligence is so important because you have these people that are not. This is not money they're willing to lose. This is not. Like I always tell people when I get them into crypto, hey, start with what you're only what you're willing to lose. Only start with that, right? And nice comment. And only start with what you're willing to lose. In PE, man, that's not the case at all. You have to be so sound with the decisions you make. Now, of course, there would be times when you go to your group and you're basically like, hey, guys, we have this opportunity. This is maybe a perhaps more risky opportunity. However, if it hits a home run, it's a home run. But you're basically looking to outperform the stock market. You're looking to outsize. You're looking to give them better returns than their typical investment would. And having exposure to crypto back then, I remember bringing up specifically. So I was running a large scientific company. Headquarters were in Northern California, and we had a manufacturing plant in Denver. We had another laboratory in Berkeley. We had a laboratory at headquarters. We had a sales office in Amsterdam, and like I said, we were starting one up in Dubai. Oh, and also an office in South Carolina. And anyway, my point is,
do you have room for rent?
What's that?
Do you have room for rent?
What do you mean by that?
Like, you got a place for gym rat to stay?
Oh yeah, you want to come to the mountain area, bro? So I'm not running that business
anywhere
anymore.
Where there's good people and quiet.
Man, listen, I'm telling you, the mountain states. I have no problem saying I'm a Salt Lake City Hexican, right? So Utah is a beautiful place to.
I'm in Baltimore, bitches.
You got four full seasons. They say they have the prettiest girls in the world here, right? Like that's one of the things that's said.
Okay.
I'm telling you, bro, it's something to look into. People are starting their mass exodus in California.
You know me, I like to be on the cutting edge of research, and it sounds like the mountain area is getting skipped out on right now.
Oh, dude, Utah, it's been a hidden secret for years, bro. It's been I remember there were some magazines that like would rate the most underrated cities for hot chicks, and Utah was right at the top of the list. And a lot of, there's a certain religious sentiment here. And so there's a lot of wholesome women, you know what I mean? And I'm not part of that. I'm not Mormon, right? That's one of the common things here. But there's
many a Mormon in the Hex community.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's quite a few. And
like a crazy high rate. So it's a very interesting case study.
And here's the thing, man. In my experience, like with you can't just categorize people by religion necessarily, but in my experience, most Mormons are pretty smart individuals when it comes. The education they provide for them, they have basically like free MBAs that they can get through the. They offer them so many courses. Like the church actually offers them that stuff. It's cool. So they're pretty discerning with their dollars.
The Amish kid. Good to see you,
dead.
Hey, so and we're talking.
I'm not in the club scene anymore. It might be
made it out. So we're talking about the Amish kids that made it out. That means they were critically thinking, probably quite often like the savvier ones, right? Like the ones that, because let's be honest, nobody wants to think what someone else tells them. That's not cool. I mean, that's not the right way to do that.
So are you talking about what is the Amish kid saying? Or are you saying
No. I was just talking about the Irish. He's my friend. I love him.
Oh, you-
but like
okay,
I was
gotcha.
talking about some of these guys that don't necessarily participate in what they were participating before. It's like they kind of moved on from that.
right?
And then they found stuff like this, like a freedom fighting kind of scene, which
Yeah.
I like to call this a freedom fighting kind of scene. Like this, that's what I like to think of it
I'd
as.
say
Like,
it is.
yeah, like when I think of my friends here, like I think we're freedom fighting. Like let's go. Like we're changing stuff for the better.
Absolutely.
There's no negativity here. When's the last time I said something negative? When's the last time I complained about anything?
Yeah.
And I have nothing.
Ask Sam. Sam would know the best. When was it, Sam?
Sam, when's the last time I complained? When's the last time I called you and I wasn't just freaking out about something positive?
I would probably ignore it or call you out on it.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's exactly what he would do. He
That's
wouldn't
cool.
even,
Accountable
I wouldn't
relationships.
even bother him with that. I'd call my mom, I guess, and
Because you know I would listen to him, but bro, you're just fucking making excuses. Like, let's go.
yeah,
talk about
and that's
something
why
productive.
Sam's been my life coach for 6 years, roughly, / like bodybuilding.
That's
coach.
awesome, man.
And that's how. And then I told him about Hex like 80 days ago now, and that's how the show started.
Yeah, see, that's so cool, dude. So you're relatively new into it. I mean, compared to the Hex OGs, I'm new into it. Like, I guess I'll wrap up just the last question you asked us. So as far as PE being the background, right? Like, I mean, I remember asking in one of our quarterly meetings with the essentially all that we would meet all the different CEOs of the different portfolio businesses. We'd do a quarterly meeting, right? We'd present to each other on how we're doing, call each other out, hold each other accountable to goals, etc. And I remember saying, this Bitcoin thing is pretty amazing. Like, I want to start a mining farm inside this extra space in the warehouse that I have. And people were like, oh, no. You know, and I could have made the decision to allocate capital towards it, but I would have also caught flack if it didn't do so well. So, you know, that could have been a missed opportunity. Obviously, we know what I would have used the Bitcoin for back then anyway, right?
That's an interesting.
If only they had yield farming.
That's an interesting concept, though, because as companies grow, they become more risk averse. And
absolutely,
so then they buy innovation, right? They buy innovators, right? In the individuals who are starting companies who are thinking creatively and are resourceful,
right?
And so you're like, well, that comes through incentives, right? Because of literally what you just said. As you go through it, you're incentivized for, say, some type of result of growing profit, growing ROI, whatever the case is, reduce volatility, whatever your thing is, right? And as that grows, people become less risky because then you just said it. You're like, if I started this thing, it would, if it didn't do well, I would have been looked bad at. But how do you change those incentives within companies? Because there's a lot of companies that are going to die or just are like milking what their legacy brand holds on to.
Yeah.
They're not doing much in terms of growing and doing cool shit.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you change those incentives to promote risk taking by, you know what I mean? Like, the metrics have to change, because if you're focusing on the other stuff, those companies are going to die just by the nature of the design of them.
Oh, 100%. And you know what it comes down to is, I mean, you know, the stakeholders. I mean, as far as, so what we're always focused on in PE, right? I mean, EBITDA is the magic number, right? Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization. That's the magic number. And then you want to divest the company for multiples on that. So the goal is, you buy a business, you either buy other businesses and add on to it and package it to sell. But ours we were always growth based. We'd look for companies that were around $2.5 to $10 million in earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. And then we'd like to grow them and sell it at a 36x. Like sometimes that we'd sell is in terms of 36x on EBITDA. But you know, the thing is, your stakeholders, it depends on how much influence they have. Ideally, if you're running your own company, because when you're dealing with other people's money, OPM, and you're dealing with that many people, you know, it could be a lot of lawsuits you take. I mean, granted, these are all your partners, but there could be a lot of different things you can take when you're managing money for 50 to 70 wealthy families, right? And so, but your typical business, like you're saying, I mean, an interesting thing is like a Michael Saylor with his Bitcoin, right? Like, I mean, Michael Saylor has literally leveraged every single possible dollar pretty much that he could to put Bitcoin on his balance sheet, right? To have a balance sheet, to just have an asset heavy business. And, you know, we all know that he bought the top and he continues to buy. And so
he is the top. Like, he is the top, like, by definition. Like,
Yeah.
the guy that's screaming online, the richest dude online screaming and buying Bitcoin at the time is going to be the top because he's the last guy to know. And he's the richest guy, and he can move his money the slowest, and he's like an old ass dude who's finally. So like Richard says it, like when he starts interacting with Twitter, like top signal,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like when he starts buying Bitcoin, like top signal, you know, like at least in the short term, right? Like
Absolutely.
because everyone knows what's he doing, leveraging all shit long, then telling everyone. It's like,
You know, but here's the thing: is as far as crypto as a class, the argument is, will Bitcoin continue to be around? And obviously, I do believe Hex is a better Bitcoin, 100%. However, you know, with crypto, with the future of it that I believe crypto has, and Bitcoin at least being the brand name in the space, that's not where I'm putting my money. But I mean, you know, as far as a stable investment for the next 10 years, the question is it going to hit another top? I think it'll go up, and I think it'll eventually go higher. But he's extremely leveraged in the meantime.
he'll be the bottom too.
Margin
Once he
calls,
gets liquidated, we will continue. Once he gets liquidated, we will continue.
and that's what's going to be interesting to see, because I mean that, and this whole UST thing. I mean, I know people that actually had UST on their balance sheets,
Of course.
and it's like, oh boy, you know, they got so excited in that ecosystem, and now they're hurting, you know, and it's like, dude, you know,
We'll transition. I want to talk to the comments for 1 second, guys. I've been interacting with the comments with my fingers while I listen. Well, strategy guys, don't come at me, but guys, listen. Share the stream out right now, and like the stream, and make sure I'm gonna make sure I get his all his stuff pulled up before we get out of here. We'll get him to 1,000 likes before you know it. I mean 1,000 subs before you know it.
oh, dude, I love that.
Yeah, we'll get you there quick. We're gonna get Gen Hex there. So we got to, at the end of the stream, we're going to force everyone to follow a Hexagon.
I'll post it, 'cause it's kind of
good.
confusing.
But so we can bring up we got another basically 45 minutes to rap about whatever, guys. Toss Child, Illuminati Naughty, Orange Peach Mango. Good to see you guys. Par Excellence, always great to see you in here. I've never met a Amish, Mormon, Jehovah's here in Aussie. Yeah, I've met all those sorts of people everywhere around here. That's kind of funny. Bitfinesse, I won't touch OPM, not even from the bank or Fed. I don't know what OPM is.
Other people's money.
Oh, I studied PE for a year or so, but it was a different type of PE. So every time you say PE, it's interesting. I'm always like, wow, are you in a PE community? Are you in the Reddit? Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, but then you're like, oh, it's private equity. Which private equity
is? We also have a product in our portfolio. We did have a product for PE, depending on the type of PE.
Can you tell me was it Bathmate?
No, it was
LA Pumps.
No, I'm talking for premature ejaculation, right?
I don't know.
Or keeping hard, or
that's what they advertise.
There's many different things related to like.
We're not going to go down that rabbit hole right now.
Well, I don't know what you meant by PE, but we owned a company that manufactured a product in that space.
Well, anyway, guys,
I wanted to ask
the sub, smash the like. You have a little chart below, Sam. Do you want to say something about the adoption rate and where things are going?
Yes, because I have a feeling that Don probably has seen similar data to this, where let me make this a little bigger, as we look at the adoption in crypto.
Yeah,
we're right around here at the beginning stages. We're right here at the beginning, at 2 standard deviations away from like the center, right? We're just past here. If we look at crypto.com, like annual state of the nation, let me pull that up. They talk about, and they do, I think, annually, where they talk about how many users are actually in crypto. And this came out, I think, in January. So if you come down here, I've read through this, but they basically estimate that there's about 300 million users in crypto.
Right.
So when we go back over here, and you do the math, right? If you take, 300 million divided by 8 billion, right? That's about 4% of the world population.
I think it's lower than that too, because I think people have multiple wallets, but still, I mean, roughly, you're still at the same spot on the curve, in my opinion.
So what happens from this point on? Like if you go through and you look at any type of historical adoption curve, you have they all follow the same adoption curve, right? So like this is a bunch of different technologies. And as you look at this, you can see the ones who started way over here. It's kind of like a slow adoption curve, but it's still an S curve. You come to the more recent decades, and this data is still 15 years old.
Zoom in on that, Sam. I want to see some of the names on this thing.
So check this out. Let me. You guys can't see this calculator on the screen here, but check. Say this one with color TV, right? This one for color TV right here, right? Look at here.
Wow, that's a parabolic one.
Look at, but right here, can you see my mouse?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right here is where we are in crypto. Right here is this. If you come over
I
here,
would
this is 20%. We're right in this time. You know what fucking happens over the next couple of years? This stupid, parabolic, crazy growth. Look at you can look over here for cell phones. Same idea, or even the microwave, right? For the microwave right here, we're at 1975. We're at about 4%, 5%, right? You come to 1990, 15 years later, that is up here at 85% adoption. Like when you slow these growth rates down, we're still hitting 50% of the global population in the late half of this decade. It's crazy. It is absolutely insane. And I wanted to show you this data, Don, because of the PE background and because I'm curious of your perspective on this and hear your thoughts on all of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, adoption, like the adoption curve you showed in the beginning is kind of like your typical adoption curve to help people understand what early is, what laggards are, et cetera. But yeah, you see accelerated adoption curves, and that's what we're seeing as time goes on, more and more. Plus, it's so easy to communicate new products to people now, right? And people, at least with all this inflation, people have the money to invest in products like that. What's interesting is a lot of the products you were showing there were actual products. And this is a financial product, and a lot of people will argue my dollar works just fine, right? And so I think as we get more towards a Web3 world, which Pulse Chain interacts with wonderfully, where everyone essentially has their MetaMask or equivalent, then I think we're going to see faster adoption. But we got a lot of people pushing against us, banks, et cetera. Whereas you didn't have that with a lot of those other things.
Talk about that? Yeah.
What do you think? So I followed Tesla for 10 years and made money with them and everything, but way before everybody else paid attention. And when you look at smart cars, well, the big piece is like the EV portion of it. The battery is the same as like the technology, where it's following a cost decline as you increase. There's something called Wright's law, which is as you double the aggregate production on a global basis of something, there's a constant decrease in average cost per unit type of thing, like LCDs, computers, etc. Well, this happens with EV technology. And I've been watching this play out year after year after year after year, where the cost per kilowatt in a battery powered car keeps coming down.
And to achieve efficiency, yeah.
And because of the total production of ICE engine vehicles is on an annualized basis is like 90 million or something like that, that it just allows the cost curve to come down faster because you can double EVs faster. Yes.
Yeah.
And so I watched this play out over there. And then I come into crypto, 2-3 months ago, and I'm like, holy shit, nobody's even talking about this. These next couple years are going to be so. In 2021, according to crypto.com, their estimates are that went from 100 million users to 300 million users. And these, I believe, I read through it, they didn't talk about it, but I believe they take into consideration multiple wallets, because anybody who's actually into crypto knows that you have multiple wallets. So
right. Well, crypto.com, I mean, you have to KYC for them anyway, so. I'm sure that they're. I wonder what their total user base is, but yeah, no, I think we're going to see adoption increase. Yeah, I definitely think we're going to be seeing an exponential increase in the curve. My question to you guys, let me ask you this: what was it that got you so excited about it, Sam? Was it the investment opportunity, or was it the use case, or was it all the above?
For crypto?
Crypto, yeah. Like what? Since you came into it new, what was it that made you go, oh my gosh, wow, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, what was it that made you?
Well, back, I knew, I don't know if like you want to call it intuition or whatever, but seeing, say, certain technology take place over since like early 2000s, or like say watching Google, right, and paying attention to that, cell phones or Apple, what Apple was doing, and then Facebook and and then Tesla. And being the schmuck that I was, I didn't put money into any of it. And I saw it was happening. I'm telling friends about it. I'm like, Amazon, guys, this is going to take over fucking shit way before other people were. And this is back in 2009, 10, like way before the masses were really, like a lot of people hadn't even purchased on it. So 2 years ago, so I started putting money in Tesla like 2018-ish. So 2 years ago, I told my girlfriend, I was like, next time I see this shit, like I've seen it so many times and I didn't take advantage of it. I didn't actually do anything about it. I saw this before the masses actually paid attention, and I didn't do anything about it. So 2 years ago, I told my girlfriend that next time I see this and get that sense like in my heart, in my head, where I'm like, fuck, this shit's going to change stuff a lot, that I was going to go in and I was going to do all in. So GRC and I connected again, 70 days ago or something like that, I thought my understanding of Hex was that it was HNT. That's how little HNT is helium, right? That's why I was like, hey man, you're in this. And that's what I thought it was. Started chatting with him and I completely stopped paying attention to Tesla. Like the first articles that I wrote on Tesla were back in 2013 on Seeking Alpha. There's videos on YouTube about it. And I was like, I need to really go into this and understand this because I know it's transformative. And it was all those pieces wrapped in together. Like this is going to change so many different areas and the potential here, as well as understanding the adoption curve and where things are about to go before other people. Like if you're in business or like surfing, so to speak, because it might be easier for some people to understand surfing, you can sense when a wave or a set is going to come in sometimes when you really know what you're doing.
Yes. And
you can catch these waves that other people might not see. And you catch that wave, which is carrying you in differently than everybody else because nobody else saw that. Well, that's kind of like what this S curve is to me relative to the general population. Nobody's paying attention to understand that this growth rate is actually going to accelerate through this decade. This is going to actually go faster throughout this decade. Yes, there's speed bumps. Yes, there's things that need to be handled. But you get a user base, 300 million people. If everybody tells two people,
it's right around and I think with inflation, the way that things are going, and people realizing that, well, man, if I hold $1 next year, it's worth 91.5 cents, and then if I hold that for 20 years, it's essentially worth negative. Like, you know what I mean? It's not worth anything anymore. And so I think that once people understand that message of the fact that, you need to have custody of your own money. There was something that I read on stream last night. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's hold on, I can pull it up.
If you put it in the private chat, we can pull it up too.
Well, it's just a tweet. It's just something to read. Let me see. It basically says this. So someone shilled me. It said these scam coins are getting crazy. Someone just shilled me $27 trillion supply, no supply cap, one node, 25% of minted. 25% of the supply has been minted in the last 6 months, and 1% of the holders own 30% of the token. Oh wait, never mind. That's the US dollar. You know what I mean? That's facts. That's in one node. You know what I mean? Like that's exactly what we're dealing with right now. And so I think as people start to get hit during this downturn, recession, whatever it's going to play out to be, people are going to realize how important it is to have custody of their own money. And if they're smart, they're going to get in before they get wrecked, right? But if they're smart, they're going to get their money into an asset that actually holds its value at a minimum, but ideally pays them yield. And that's why Hex is if Hex was your first asset that you were able to get into in crypto, you're an extremely lucky man. That's rare.
That's also a blessing in the sense that like I get into this community and get into Hex to start with, and I don't realize all this other fucking garbage that's out there that everybody else has to deal with, because I'm like, wow, I meet people like Don here, GRC, and all these other people who are just helpful. They're trying to improve their life. They're trying to learn. They're trying to grow as an individual. They're trying to impact the world in positive ways. And I don't get to see all this degen stuff. Right. So it's like, it's definitely a blessing that this is the path for me to come in here.
No, it is a blessing, man. One of the things I've said is the Hex community, like having been to the Crypto Spar Book when they came here locally, right? Like we were their biggest turnout before they hit Texas. There was like 51 people or something. And I mean, made it like Hexy Quinn, made a lot of good friends in person at that time. And then at the Hexpo, I mean, got to meet so many more people there and made friends that I'll have for life. And it's interesting because the recovery community, like I can walk into a meeting in Dusseldorf, Germany, right? An AA meeting and not even speak the language, but be able to give somebody a hug. What's up, Monica? Monica's the homie. We had a good time in Vegas.
I talked to her yesterday. She's awesome.
Yeah, she's awesome. We went to the mansion party thing together with the group and with her other friend too, Chica Hex. Anyway, so we gosh, what was the point I was saying on that? Yeah, the community, like I can go to an AA meeting and see somebody and just give them a hug and be like, oh my gosh, I know so much about you just by the fact that we're in the same room. Hex is it's the only other community that I've found that has just been like off the rip that welcoming, and you meet someone and you know so much about what they're about, and it's the community is phenomenal. Now, there's also a lot of amazing communities in the crypto space also. I mean, in these NFT projects, and I know a lot of people are so against NFTs, but I'll completely admit I took a small portion of just play money that I would have spent at the casino in Vegas, right? Stuff that I just wanted to have fun with, right? And dabbled in the NFT community enough to be able to have some decent ones, have some of the Hex Toys ones, etc. But those communities have so much tight knit. And they have their own mental health channels in their Discords. I mean, these are guys that are actually, a lot of them are tight knit and good people as well. And they have no idea what's coming to them once they join Pulse Chain and they get to, realize so many more amazing people. You know what I mean? They actually can do this stuff on cheap gas fees.
$20 super chat, Crypto Wash.
Shout out.
Had to stop cardio to respond to the surfing analogy. Much more so than catching a wave. Those who understand the current will end up in the impact zone, flounder and drown. Study the water. I'm a surfer myself, so I love it.
That's so important because that's literally, if you guys are watching this, right, there's 89 people who are watching this, and what he's saying, that analogy for the wave thing, you can take that, and maybe if you don't surf, right? I used to live in Hawaii. GRC has been surfing. He likes to travel to surf, and you once you understand the water of what's going on, you can get an advantage over other people. And that's what's happening right now in crypto. Right now it's happening in crypto. We're so early, but it's about to be stupid, about to be really stupid. But this about to be really stupid is going to take, potentially.
What makes it really stupid? The downturn, like what's always makes crypto so volatile. It's like the downturn is going to be so severe that it's going to pinch everyone out except the guys that are sticking and staying and ready for war. You know what I mean? And that's all of us.
Forget about your dough. Like just lock it up. That's what Hex, it saves you from yourself. There's a video I'm about to do that was suggested on the stream last week. That is, how many people did Mt. Gox save? Because people are going to see that and be like, what? They robbed people. No, that actually saved people. And what you can do is you can take your Bitcoin that you're about to get supposedly in the next few months. There's, millions and millions and millions of dollars of Bitcoin that's going to be coming out. And hundreds of thousands of them, right? And you can actually go to another protocol, hex.com, and you can transfer your money into Ethereum based assets. You can put them in the Hex protocol, and you can save yourself again for the next time that you would have sold, because almost everyone would have sold their coins, right? So it actually saved people. And so this downturn, when people are going to get pinched out, that's why you stake your dough, stake your Hex, because you literally cannot do anything about it until half your time's up. And then at that point, you just get back what you put in.
And we just got to wait for the people to sell off, right? Like there's enough buyers in Hex where you just got to wait, and there's enough buyers in everything, right? Like the adoption curve is strong enough where it's like there's going to be enough buyers, but it's going to drop heavily.
I think that is one of the reasons why there might be alpha in PE personally, not because it's better management. That's what they want to think, right? But like, because you literally shift the time frame. So for people with contacts, like in the public markets, you have quarterly earnings, right? So people a lot of times will focus on quarterly. What does that do short term? Think of like dating somebody. Right. If I'm just like, hey, I'm going to sleep with this girl once, I couldn't give a shit what she thinks or what.
You achieve that goal, but at the expense of the future goals.
And relationship into the future, whether it's an intimate relationship 100%. Or a friend relationship or somebody I do business with in the future. And by taking PE, you like you're the one doing this, right? And you have a longer term perspective, whether it's 5-year, 7-year, or 12-year with a couple options at the end of it or something, right? Like you have a longer time horizon. And by literally changing from 90 days to 5 years, you can get abnormally high returns, or you can get alpha because you just literally changed your time frame.
I'm glad you brought that. I'm glad you brought that up because that's another thing about that point is when we're looking in PE, when you're looking at when you're looking at making a deal, right? You're looking at bringing a company inside the portfolio. Yeah, you are not. I mean, you're looking at but you're counting on dips. You're counting on, hey, this is going to take quite a bit of capital. We're raising this. This is our first capital call. We might need to do another capital call depending on how things go. But I mean, what Amazon lost money for 7 years, their first 7 years or something like that. Like they'd actually lost dough. Like volatility is the price that we pay for these crazy returns, the stomach for volatility. And so you have to have a longer term time frame if you want to make anything in crypto, because if you're excited with the 2x or a 3x, then okay, cool. Get involved in the bear market or in the bull market if you're looking to just get involved at the beginning of the bull and then sell off really pretty quickly. Because if you're going to buy in the bear, which is a perfect accumulation time to start grabbing up Hex, grabbing up the assets that you want, Hex, Pulse Chain, PulseX, then liquid, whatever the tokens are that you want in this ecosystem, grab them when they're low. It's so interesting. I'm sure you sound like a psychology guy. Isn't it fascinating to you that people hate buying red and they love buying green? Like they could have had Hex at 10 cents, or when Hex was on a downturn and they see Hex at 10 cents, they're like, no. But yet when it was at 40, they're like, oh man, I wish I bought more when it was 10 cents. Like
why do you think that is? Like, what do you think? Because a lot of the stuff that the stories that people create in their mind, right? A lot of it just comes from the narrative that has been controlled by the media for
doubt and fear in themselves, man. Doubt and fear in their own, and them making a sound financial decision, like them doing their own research. It's like if they see it green, it's like, oh, a lot of other people think this is going to go up, so it's going to go up, so I'm going to buy it. Yeah, but you just lost. You could have bought 20% cheaper. Why did you wait till there was a green candle on it? That's why dollar cost averaging in is so key. But people, and then when they see the red, they get scared and they think that their thesis is wrong now just because a lot of people are selling. You got to stick to your thesis. You got to find the thesis. Like look at the whole adoption curve. That adoption curve, if you genuinely believe where we are, then dollar cost average in and buy every single deal that you can with dry powder. You know what I mean? Like why? And again, only play with money. I shouldn't say money you're willing to lose. Only play with money you're willing to lock up and not have access to for a while, right? Like that's maybe a better way to look at it. But it's, if people have the right time horizon, like they say, it's time in the market, not timing the market. You try to time the market, you're toast.
You for people who don't understand like what's happened over the last couple of years with Hex, right? When you do the numbers, if you put in $100 in the Hex and it has another 10,000x, you got $1 million. If you put and I don't know what your guys' thoughts are, and I'd like to hear this in a second. Right? We have Pulse and PulseX and then Hex. I think that it seems like at this moment, with the information we have, that Pulse and PulseX may hit another 10,000x first before Hex hits another 10,000. Maybe not. Could be completely wrong.
I think they will. It's so hard to say because they're so correlated, right? So you have Hart's Law playing, and you have the fact that once people see like the premier asset where you can actually get paid, I know there's single side staking, but you can get paid yield on your money up to 38+% a year, then people will ideally go to that. But it does have a different, people outside of the space have always seen it as kind of like the scam token, etc. But once they see that Pulse Chain is a phenomenally flawless blockchain, right? Like that, oh wow, this one works better. It's more affordable as of now, right? I mean, gas fees will get expensive, then he'll need to fork it again. But I think those will probably do a 10. I don't know. It's so hard to say. My guess is that you're going to see Pulse or PulseX do another 10,000x before Hex does another 10,000x. That's my guess.
I agree. I agree with that. And if you believe or think similar to like, hey, I think Pulse is going to be fucking awesome. I think PulseX is going to be really dope. And Hex is awesome. And you believe these things. If you were like, okay, and you're like, I don't have a lot of money, and you just put in $100 a month, $100 a month, and they have 10,000x, that's $12 million. You got to factor the time frame, right? So you'd be like, okay, I'm going to do this for 36 months, 60 months, or whatever it is, and just that's all you're doing. Like, I'm going to do that. You're going to set yourself up in a crazy, crazy time because of this adoption curve. It's about to go straight up.
Right. Absolutely. It's going to happen. I mean, I don't think people understand like Hex, and it was so fascinating watching the Crypto Wendy O interview with Richard, right? Because she's a sharp chick, right? Like she is she as far as the crypto space, she stays on top of things. Granted, she's shilled a bunch of things at all times, but when she was bringing up Pulse, right? Like she asked Richard, like basically like, so it's another coin? Like, whoa. What are you talking about? It's another coin. No, Pulse chain is an entire layer 1 blockchain, the first ever that will have a full system state of Ethereum baked right into it. The best marketing ever baked right into it, but it's a layer 1 token. Anyone wants to use their coins on that, they need to accumulate Pulse to be able to do it. Granted, they can go to the faucet, get one for free, and at the beginning, one gets you multiple gas transactions. So many, it's ridiculous how much you can do with one Pulse. But I mean, once that becomes like one Ethereum, you know what I mean? It's crazy. You know,
what do you think? So what do you think about the adoption? So GRC has talked about this. Obviously, adoption is going to drive everything. We know at the macro level what's happening, right? We just looked at the data. And how do you see that playing out for, say, Pulse or Pulse X?
So, I mean, it's so.
What are some barriers you see that the community is working on, that somebody smart, intelligent, with money and thought is like putting effort into breaking down these barriers to grow that faster?
Yeah, you're saying the adoption of it. I mean, I think the best place to start is with people already in crypto, and that's why Richard built it the way that it was, is because I think people just don't even believe it. Like Lit, I haven't seen Lit do a video for a while, but I was watching one of his last night because I was getting a kick out of that dude, man. And you know, the My Life is Awesome channel. And by the way, shout out to Gen Hex. He had an awesome stream that we were on last night.
Yeah, it was dope.
GRC and I were on there, and that's such a cool group. I do that on Saturdays. I've been invited to do it last 2 Saturdays, but the fact that I like Crypto Tips, right? They're Heidi and Toby. They are a couple that did well with Bitcoin, did well with Ethereum. They have their own channel. It's quite a big subscriber base, and I'm in their paid group, right? Like their Discord. And I posted a bunch of information in there about what to do with your NFT. Delist your Bored Ape Yacht Club, because when Pulse Chain comes out, guess what? If you have it listed for 90 Ethereum, and I see it on there once on Mintra, once it launches, I'm going to be able to buy that Bored Ape Yacht Club for 90 Pulse, and I'm going to be able to own your ape. You know what I mean?
Explain that to people, because a lot of people don't understand what you just said. Like, I completely get it. It's going to be freaking awesome, because there's going to be a lot of other opportunities like that. So explain, OpenSea, how it works, and then the
okay, yeah, and maybe let me jump back real quick before I jump into that. One of the things I was telling people, aside from that, that's kind of the point I was trying to get to them. But one of the things they said when I said Ethereum is being forked, or it's a new blockchain. It's essentially, it's like a fork. I mean, it's going to be like it's a fork. It's like Binance Smart Chain essentially. But every single asset that you own, and ERC20 and ERC721, I mean, any smart contract that works on Ethereum is going to be on Pulse. So you're going to have your tokens that you have from the Ethereum side. If you have them in a wallet that you have the keys to, these are all going to be accessible on Pulse Chain. I'm explaining this to savvy crypto people. People said, I don't believe that for 1 second. Like, there's a test net going on. Like, there's test net that's live. You can actually play with these things. Like, you can't just snap your fingers and create a test net and have it function the way that it does without a lot of work from a lot of expensive devs going on. People don't even believe that this thing is going to A, launch, or B, work the way that that we claim that it's going to work. And so I think there's going to be so many people in crypto that are not going to believe it until they actually change that setting in their MetaMask, and they go over to the Pulse Chain and they realize, like, oh wow, I have assets. They might need to do their own analysis to make sure that nothing happens with their wallet connecting addresses or whatever. But once people realize that, oh my gosh, like, these things actually have value. Oh, there's liquidity pools over here. There's trade value for these tokens. They're going to get involved. And when they're there, they need to buy Pulse as the layer 1 to transact with any of their assets on there. So any Pulse holder, it's like Ethereum. Why did Ethereum go through the roof? NFTs came onto Ethereum, and it skyrocketed gas prices. I remember when Vitalik was saying $8 is way too high, or 8 cents was way too high for a gas price. Well, look at it now. And it's because so many people came over. Once we see all those people on Pulse Chain, please try to break Pulse Chain. Please try to break it with NFTs. Bring everything over, because guess what? As holders of that layer 1 token that got in early, we're going to see that rise that the Ethereum holders got when they bought them sub penny, and now they're seeing them at thousands of dollars. It's crazy.
There is a cop on my property, so I'm gonna go check and see what's up. I think
keep your audio on.
Yeah, keep the audio.
Yeah, dude. Hey, this could be
looks like he's
viral.
on
Man.
the, looks like
Take
he's
the
on,
video.
yeah, could be on the neighbor's property. I'm gonna close this out real quick. I'll be
Dude,
right.
it could be viral, bro.
I'll be right back.
Go beat him up.
Audio is still on.
Damn, look at Sam though.
Go beat him up, Sam.
Look at Sam. Look at Sam's physique right there.
Yeah, Sam's almost 40, guys.
That's no joke. That's no joke at all.
But yeah, it's definitely no joke. He's 250. He's 240 pounds.
How tall is he?
6'1" or 6'2".
Oh gosh, man. Yeah. So he's my height. I'm almost 6'3". But yeah, man, I need to be back. I was up at 220, like I was saying last night, but down to like 190 now. I'm working to put it back on, man. I need to talk to you guys about.
Hey, don't worry so much about putting it on. I'd be more worried about keeping whatever you have on and just leaning out, seeing how.
Yeah, well, fortunately, I'm back to lean. You know what I mean? And
I don't know how big you were comparatively, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, I was 220, and it was gym gains, so I was
really
liking
cool.
it. But I was on test and I was on GH. You know, and I was on Serostim, and basically then I got off, or then I just stopped hitting the gym and kept taking it, and dude, that turned into fat real quickly. Quickly.
Absolutely.
And then then it made it so I wasn't able to have kids, man, until for 3 years that I couldn't. And then 4 months ago, blessed with my firstborn, you know.
Did you have to take a HCG?
Yep, I had to do the HCG injections. And after that, it's you know what I mean? Did the HCG injections, finally just quit on those because nothing was happening. And then, man, blessed with my
HCG is you were probably hypogonadal the whole time.
Probably.
So basically what he just told us is that he was hypogonadal, couldn't have kids because he did test and probably didn't come off of it correctly. And then he had to
didn't.
He had to go to a clinic, and then eventually they gave him HCG, and eventually he had kids because, a lot of people don't know about human chorionic gonadotropin, which is HCG, and it's just synthetic LH, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah, basically. It's
just synthetic semen, what it is like, or synthetic
LH, yep.
Yeah, whatever, luteinizing hormone.
Yeah. Whatever it did, it helped to come back. You know what I mean? I'm sure I could have 6 more kids now if I wanted.
You could have as many kids as you'd like. People don't understand this stuff. This is stuff we're going to spread to the world as we go further into this, because Sam's doing a bodybuilding podcast, and we're going to bridge the gap here between the bodybuilding world and this show. So it's like he's going to, hopefully some people will be interested in this, and then vice versa, and because he knows a lot of guys in the bodybuilding world, and there's just a lot of kids that are suffering because they take steroids when they're young and they don't tell anyone, and then they're hypogonadal till the day they kill themselves at 40 because they have no idea why they are depressed.
Yep.
And it's like, it's because you never asked the doctor or did a research or did anything. You have to understand these things. They're not that complicated. Well, you know what I mean.
There's education, just like there's a gigantic Grand Canyon education gap between like legacy and like crypto, like actually understanding like what's going on to crypto. There's also like that same thing in actual like health and how to improve your health.
I would agree, man, because people are like, who do I listen to? Just like if someone's coming into crypto, all right, which community do I tap into? Like you got lucky because you knew GRC, you were able to come right into Hex. But dude, when coming back into crypto after being out of it for a while, it was like, all right, I know Bitcoin, like, and okay, this Ethereum thing's cool, and I can play around with different things, but all right, let me watch some YouTube videos. Who do I watch? Okay, you get led to the biggest channels, BitBoy Crypto, Crypto Man Ran with Crypto Banter. You get led to those, and oftentimes if you start playing with the coins they're sponsoring, you get led to the slaughter. You know what I mean? Because you're their exit liquidity, and so it's like with the health thing that you're mentioning, it's like, yeah, who do you start listening to? I mean, you can listen to 4 different guys that have a totally different recommendations as far as how to do GH properly, how to do HGH properly, how to do how to do test properly. If you're gonna do DECA, whatever you're gonna mess with, like how to do it properly. Some trend. I added some trend in there back in the day too. That
nice move.
But you know what I mean?
Classic move. But I never done it. Mom, if you're watching this, I've never done those crazy drugs. That's for certain. These guys are absolutely bonkers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't never talk to these guys in person.
that I see that gap as an opportunity, right? Like there's a massive opportunity.
Yeah, me and Sam have been talking in the background about a lot of stuff. You know, like we want to do business too, but there's lots of people that need helping. So you can do two at the same time.
Absolutely. So we have I think I mentioned to Sam, we have a sober gym up here. It's a recovery. It's actually it's an IOP, like an intensive outpatient program, but it's called School of Addiction Recovery, right? And it's a nonprofit, and it's a lot of it's like, you know, CrossFit based stuff, but also a lot of bodybuilding stuff as well. And it's basically guys go in there that are completely out of shape. They've tried other programs, and it's like what they do basically there is they do a crazy intense workout with my buddy Dustin, who's the founder, or my buddy Frank, who now runs it. And it's I mean, it's transformative, man. These guys are complete drug addicts that then go in there and they learn that they're going to do a crazy workout. They usually vomit their first few times, and then they go into a group session right after. When you're completely vulnerable, there's no therapist there. It's just a bunch of dudes that know what each other's going through that are talking, and they just talk and they process life and the things that are going on. People are in their defenses are broken down because they just got their ass kicked in an amazing workout. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, we had a podcast for years. It was called Workout Addiction Recovery was the gym back then. And that talked about health. I wasn't the health expert. My buddy Dustin was, obviously, diet, health, etc. But it's such a need, man. Like it's such a health overall. And it's cool to see the Hess community be so big on health, you know?
Yes.
Well,
you guys are doing awesome. Shout out to you guys, by the way, for the challenge, right?
We gotta get one of those boards.
I know, dude, you're starting
to
that's taunting over here, man. You're pissing me off with that thing. I want one of those things.
You guys need the pound count, man.
GRC, I got a question for you. This really makes no sense, but I'm going to read it. If you do not claim some of your points, does that count at the end to make you lose, or can your results still help you win? I don't know.
Matthew, you might try to rephrase.
Are you talking about the Pulse Chain airdrop?
Is he talking
about the fitness app, dude.
I think he's talking about the fitness app.
Oh shoot! Oh. Sorry, we rarely have been talking about that unless it's Sunday. It is Sunday. What the heck? The Lord's Day. I don't even know what day it is anymore, guys. So now let me reread the question. GRC, I got a question for you. If you not claim some of your points, does that count at the end to make you lose? Or does the result help you?
If win? I claim points and GRC doesn't claim points, then he has no chance in catching up if I am consistent.
Yeah, so you got to claim all your points to win.
Yeah, all things equal.
But there's 3 ways to win. So there's going to be other winners too. Like there's going to be me and Sam are going to pick MVP in our opinion, and then the community is going to pick MVP in their opinion. So there's 3 winners. And
then a points winner. So yes, and I'm chatting with somebody who's down 36 pounds. Like
yeah, we got a guy down 36 pounds. He's weaning off of a little bit of a substance as well. You know, everyone, you know, within this stuff, there's a lot of people that are going through a lot, and it just opened my eyes to a lot, you know, like, you know, I mean, I've gone through a lot of the stuff too, but you know what I mean? Challenge survivors here. Thank you guys. No donuts at church today. You can have a donut if you're about to rip the waves. Fitness challenge question. I forgot to claim my points too. It's Sunday, LOL. You're going to have to beg to producer Bullish for mercy in his DMs. The only way you can bypass that point system is if you beg for mercy in Bullish's DMs, not my DMs.
If you send him some hacks, if you send him some hacks, he'll probably help you out.
Send me all your money.
Lopez. What does he say? No way for me to give you points. I can only take away.
Bullish isn't budging. He's not budging.
Luke Du Bois, shout out.
I love it. They vomit and then they can process the therapy. That's true. Experiential therapy. Another way to understand suffering and connection. Yes,
I love that idea.
Well, Luke Du Bois is a clinical professional as well in the mental health and addiction field.
Yeah. So here's the thing. What you're saying, he is?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah. So I mean, that's people, especially addicts, right? Or this really goes for anyone that has. I mean, all of us are addicts in one sense or the other. I don't care what it is. There's something that there's a habit that we have that we're probably doing too much of that we could, you know, Yeah, right.
Yeah,
GRC knows. And that's a real one, man. And the thing is, when you go to talk to people about it, your defenses are usually so up, and you're not even meaning it to be the case. You want to present as your best self, and unless you're totally broken down and hit rock bottom, you tend to not be completely vulnerable. When you just get your ass kicked in a incredibly intense workout that you literally, I mean, of course, the expert made sure that you were, that you did it right. But you don't even have the energy for those defense mechanisms. Someone asks you like, "Hey, so are you doing these self-destructive behaviors?" People are like, "Yeah." You know what I mean? Instead of like, not that much. People they just come completely honest with it.
How long have you been doing that? How long have you been doing that?
So I'm one of the so it's been around. My buddy started back in 2012, so it's been around for 10 years. It was called Workout Addiction Recovery. Now it's called School of Addiction Recovery, SOAR, SOAR, and it's been around since then. When it changed to SOAR, that's when I became one of the I was one of the financial backers in it, and basically help promote it, and then was doing the podcast on it for a while. And it's an awesome. I gotta get you guys to talk to my boy Dustin on it when you do have that other channel. He's not into crypto yet. Like it'll take him a while to get it, maybe through talking to you guys. But
if he sees a couple bodybuilder celebs come on, maybe he will.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, you guys will,
he's big into the fitness and nutrition and stuff.
Oh, gigantic. He and his wife. In fact, one of the ladies that comes to work out at the gym is the girl that won like the national CrossFit competition or whatever. Like she won first place in it. Not one of these.
I bet she was natty.
Yeah, right. Who knows?
I don't know about that.
CrossFit girls.
So he and his wife both like they both have she has her own fitness business that she helps women on the side. But they're such solid people. You'll dig them.
If he wants to, next Thursday at 6 p.m. EST, I'm going to be doing on my other channel.
I'll get him, dude. He's phenomenal.
You got to set up your first show though.
It's set up. I just haven't published it anywhere.
I know. Don't you want to like when you do your show, not have like every person on your show right away, so you can like process what's going on.
Yeah, you just let me know when.
Follow through. They won't be on the first time. Like
we'll talk about a lot of things.
If I talk to people, a lot of people don't like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, but
or whatever. No, I would definitely like to have him on, whether it's not this week or the week after.
Yeah, whenever. Let me know. He's a deep dude. He gets into spirituality, all types of things, you know what I mean? But when it comes to, that's his world, man. Like if you check out the site, you'll be able to see him. He usually has a big beard like down to here, but it's probably shaved. He probably shaves it for the summer,
So what are you working on right now? Do you want to talk about, because I'm going to jump off in a couple minutes. So you want to talk about it wherever you want people to check out if they want to get a hold of you, or they're like, this guy's intelligent. Let me follow him in some places.
So on Twitter, I'm at the Hexiest Man, and on YouTube. So YouTube, GRC can maybe post the link again. It's a bit confusing. So my channel isn't Hexiest Man in the World, even though I go on to a lot of streams and comment as that. My channel that I post on is it's called Network Effects, which, as we all know, network effect is what makes a blockchain large. And but it's spelled network E/P, lowercase E/P HEX. It was a play on EHEX and PHEX, right? And network effects. I thought I was being so clever, but if you try to Google network effects, it's an impossible channel to find. So yeah, any subs would be appreciated. Last night on Jen Hex's channel, I think I got 10 or 11 subs last night, which were awesome. And shout out to Brand too. And Hex Deck, what's up? Hex Deck was on there last night too.
Here, hold on one second.
I love how supportive everybody is in this community.
It's amazing,
awesome.
Man.
I really enjoy it. It's like not anything that I've ever types of communities I've ever been in before, and I thoroughly enjoy it. Because I want other people to win, and then you like go through and you talk to other people, and there's like, oh wow, I'm not the only other person who like wants other people to be successful, and I don't need or want to take something from other people. Like I want them to be the best that they can be for their life and their own version of success and their own fulfillment.
There's plenty of
abundance mindset, right?
There's plenty of extra in this world, and people don't see it, but there is lots of fat on the bone. It's just a disgusting amount.
And that's what's cool as far as this community. Like it's not dog eat dog. Like we're not like, as far as what I've seen, it's not like everyone being. There's no one that's like, no, I want all the subs. Like no. I don't want, like, man, we're essentially a network, right? Like this Hex community, it's a network, and the more content you can get, the better, because then you have a broader pool from which to draw and learn something. It's So I got one extra sub so far. So shout out to whoever subbed.
Guys,
Crypto Compassion and Monica. I
Oh,
think
Crypto
both
Compassion's
subscribed.
in there. That's my dog.
Yes.
What's up, John? John's
GRC,
got me on to Gen Hex. He's an awesome dude.
GRC, you want to tell anybody to go anywhere, or you want me to go, and then you can wrap things up?
you can go. I'm gonna wrap things up since it's Sunday.
If you, Don, you know Motley.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he made a bet that I can't. He's trying to be like the big guy, right?
Yeah.
He's the OG. So he made a bet that I can't beat his Twitter followers by the end of the fitness challenge. So
Really?
he has like 14,300 followers roughly. And I'm currently like 3,800 followers. So
Oh, dude, you can do it, bro.
I have a little.
Shout
I'm
out.
like 22 days in. So if anybody's watching
Yeah,
this
shout out.
and they want to help out, and Siren also subscribe to your channel too.
Yeah, no, I'm just giving him a thank you.
Yes.
No, but I'm listening. I think you can do it, dude.
So if you guys want to help, if you're like, hey, this
I
guy's
doubt
not a
it.
complete moron, you could jump down below, scroll past GRC. You don't need to click on his shit. Just scroll to mine, click over to Twitter, press the follow button. If you find something in value that I was talking about, retweet that. It really helps out. That's basically the only way that I see myself being able to beat Motley, because Twitter is a different game. Is with your help. It's with your help. So the only way I can do it is with your help. So there's also Hexagrapher. Scott also subscribe to your channel.
Yeah. Hey, shout out Hexagrapher, man. You guys are awesome. And Scotch on the Hex. Appreciate it. That's
Hex
awesome.
Siren, hope you're doing well. Everybody, it's been an absolute banger of a stream today. We'll be back tomorrow going in hot and heavy with the detail. Monday morning, baby. That's our favorite time on Crypto in the Morning, guys. I'm going to play the outro song. Everybody, have a wonderful day. Biceps in the chat for Hexiest Man in the world. Go subscribe to him, guys.
Don, you want to get a flex up there, Don?
Young folks, you dripping on them motherfucker.
Richard Heart. It's Richard Heart.
Bought my Hex from the fucking start. .1 every day we mark. Bought my Hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my Hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hair restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Checking my MetaMask moving. Look at the Hexiest mooning. Looking at why they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing. Pull chains out, now get me a check. He's gas up and it got me a mess. Remember the times he died collect. Hex I been eating, I'm dying in the best. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Bought my Hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm rich.